Hello! To celebrate the Love Formula, my new novel, being on sale everywhere now that it's Valentine's Day, I thought I would do a quick reading. So, the basic premise of the story is there's three friends, Kathy, Jenna, Michael, and the three of them create a dating application. We would have called it a dating service or web page, in the 2010s. Apps weren't quite the buzzword that they are now. And they have various struggles with the technology and running a company and coming to terms with their own struggles with romance and finding um, partners and that kind of stuff. So, one of the places they congregate, though, is a place called Tree Town Coffee. And I'm originally from the Ann Arbor area, and Ann Arbor is Tree Town or Tree City, kind of depending on how you translate it. And I had envisioned this idea of a coffee house being multiple stories with a tree growing up through the center of it and thought it was kind of cool. Originally, I had this in a screenplay, and obviously, visually, it would be much more interesting than perhaps in text. But anyway, it's an important setting where the friends meet and hash things out. And one of the people, the person who owns Treetown Coffee, is Conrad. And if you've read my other book, Life and Times of Scarborough Fair, Conrad is actually the music producer, engineer, recording person in that book. So Treetown Records turns into Treetown Coffee. And I just figured I'd read a quick section here from that. So this chapter is just called Treetown Coffee. Welcome to Treetown Coffee Shop. Once upon a time, this building consisted of office space to rent with tiny apartments on the top floor and a recording studio in the basement. Well, actually, the recording studio, called Treetown Studios, was in the second sub-basement. That studio was made popular in the 90s by a ska band called Scarborough Fair. Jenna's parents were fans. But with the disillusionment of that band, the studio similarly dissolved. The exterior of the building consists of brick and glass. It's a beautiful space designed around a massive oak tree that grows up through the floors. The first basement is where the roots live, and each of the other floors has been designed around where the tree grows. There are spiral stairs that to the right of the entrance and a glass elevator that will take patrons to any of the three floors. So calling it a coffee shop undermines its size and scope a bit. The logistics of having a living tree and keeping bugs out of the coffee shop are worth considering. Just how would that work? In a movie, we'd rely on this being so visually interesting that the viewer wouldn't have time to contemplate these concerns. In a book, there's more time to question the plausibility, and of course, now that I've called attention to it, oops. The good news is, this is actually a thing. In fact, some architects build using living trees as support structures for buildings. There's a combination of mesh netting and other barriers put up to prevent unwanted insects from entering, but it's not perfect. So, yes, there are bugs inside occasionally, just like they are in your basement or in your house. When Jenna walks in, she walks across the hardwood floors and to the counter where owner Conrad, 54, stands. Conrad is wearing a Treetown apron over his Black Flag t shirt, blue jeans, and sandals. His forearms are covered in tattoos from 80s punk bands, most notably Black Flag and Bad Religion. His hair is disheveled, unkempt, and yet oddly stylish. Jenna runs her hand across the wooden countertop, which is rough cut and looks like part of a tree trunk. Whoa, this is a change, says Jenna. Conrad looks up and raises an eyebrow. Where's Grover? What's the boss doing running the register? Jenna asks. Good morning to you too, says Conrad. What can I get you? Avoiding the question? Conrad shrugs. I guess that's what I get for dating women half my age, he sighs. Let's just say you'll probably see more of me. Hopefully that's not a bad thing. Not at all. So, Mr. Ink, I think I see a new one on your finger? Yes, Conrad says. Any guesses? Jenna looks at the very simple tattoo that runs the length of the inside of Conrad's left index finger. It looks like a mustache. Not really, Jenna says. It doesn't look like any of the punk band logos I've ever seen, nor any grassroots movement, nor any anti government message. So either I'm out of the loop, which is distinctly possible, or it doesn't fit with the rest of your tats. Oh, an observant one. And yes, says Conrad, you're right. There is a whimsical element to it. This is light. This is funny. This is I appreciate the compliments if they are meant as such, says Jenna, but I've been coming here since you opened, and you've only ever had like 3 people work here. So if I hadn't noticed your tattoos, I would have been painfully ignorant of my surroundings. Conrad holds the finger to his lip and displays his mustache proudly. It is a mustache. Jenna snorts and laughs. Wow, I'm not sure what to say. A mustache? What happened to Mr. Serious, Mr. Saving the World, Mr. Grumpy Pants? I think I'm done being angry. I've been angry for a long time. I'm ready for something new. Well, you know what they say. It takes more muscles to frown than Conrad interrupts. That's actually not true, but I appreciate the sentiment. Do you know why I got my first tattoo? Because you loved your mama? Conrad laughs. Another customer approaches the counter. Conrad nods to the newcomer, pours a cup mug full of coffee, and hands it to the customer. The customer wanders upstairs to find a table. No words or currency are exchanged. No, Conrad says, and it wasn't because of some girl I fell in love with. Once upon a time, I lived on a farm. I hated it as a kid, but as I got older, wait, you? A farmer? Jenna scratches her head and looks dubious. Why? Conrad mimes using a pitchfork, followed by holding a piece of straw in his mouth. That's so hard to believe? Jenna laughs and says, just trying to picture you in overalls. Wait! She closes her eyes tightly and then opens them again. Okay, I think I got it. Conrad shakes his head. Right, whatever. Dad was a farmer. I was supposed to inherit the farm and whatever, but I didn't want anything to do with it. Big business was making it hard on him. They were always selling him new equipment and tools to make his job easier, but of course, those things were expensive, and so we were always broke, and I hated that. When he died, we didn't have enough money to pay off the mortgages or even pay for a proper funeral. I'm so sorry, says Jenna, and she leans onto the counter. Rather than being a farmer, I became a lobbyist. You? Holy shit, says Jenna. I thought you were Mr. Anti Establishment. Conrad ignores her and continues. I thought I could help support farmers like my dad, and working for the American Farm Bureau Federation, one of the oldest lobbyist groups, I might add, I did what I could fight for farmers' rights. The problem was I was constantly getting crapped on. We're making deals and legislation was pending and dead in committee, and I always felt like I was selling my soul, flying corporate jets, eating at fancy restaurants, you know. Meanwhile, where were the farmers? They weren't any better off than they were before. I started getting tattoos as a way of coping. First, I got these. Conrad brings his hands forward and turns them over to reveal UPC symbols on his wrists. I felt like I was part of the machine, said Conrad, so I got the UPCs of the most commercial things I could think of. Any guesses? McDonald's hamburger? Asked Jenna. Good guess, but no. The right is a Barbie and the left is a G.I. Joe. Jenna laughs. I thought you'd like that. Anyway, somewhere between the tattoos and punk music, I found my new sense of balance. Eventually, I quit the corporate gig, opened Tree Town, and have been growing into the building ever since. Like the tree? Jenna asks. Conrad shrugs. Never thought about it, but yeah, I like the tree. He holds up the finger to his lip again. Jenna laughs. Wow, that's quite the story. I had no idea you were such a softie. Don't let the word get out. It'll ruin my rep. Conrad's eyes wrinkle as he smiles. And the record studio? Conrad pours coffee into the mug when Jenna isn't looking. Yep, said Conrad. I bought the sub-basement space and opened Treetown Records first. That's where it all started. As I could afford more, I bought more and more space. And when I got tired of recording, I turned over a new leaf with a coffee shop. He pauses. Speaking of coffee, what will it be? Oh, and here we are, right back to business, Jenna says. Yes, a dark roast. Conrad smiles and hands her the mug. Kathy's up on 2. Tell her to holler down if she needs a refill. I'll be right up. And so that just kind of gives you a sense of a couple of the characters there, Conrad and Jenna. Conrad's a lesser character, but he definitely is frequent throughout the book. Really, the main 3 are Jenna, Michael, and Kathy. So anyway, I'm eager to see what you guys think when you get this in your hands and you read it. Please let me know. Write a review. Send me an email. Anything like that. So, and happy Valentine's Day to those celebrating and to those not. Um, Whatever the alternative is. So, Galentine's is one alternative. Yeah, let me know. Have a good one. Bye.